Hey guys, welcome back to Young Americans Abroad, your best place for weekly content on young American soccer players playing overseas. My name is Austin Venturin. Today I'm alone, but as always guys, welcome to our show. So before we get started today, I do want to address the little rivalry conundrum I have going on here with Schalke and Dortmund over my shoulder. I had to wear the Schalke jersey to support our boy Matt Hoppe, who scored an incredible hat trick this weekend. So it felt good to rock it, but once I put it on, I realized that this might not look so good for some of you truly loyal, Bundesliga fans out there. But anyway, we have to talk about him later on in the show. We also have to talk about two Americans who faced off in the Bundesliga in their own game and had a really, really tough performance against each other. And then finally, we have, one transfer that actually was confirmed and another transfer that kind of came out of thin air that we want to talk about real quick. So all that and more in today's episode. So to start off today, we got to talk about the man of the hour, and that would be Matt Hoppe. So it is Hoppe, so we'll stick with that for the rest of the episode. But what a day from him. He started the game for Schalke, scored all three goals with great finesse and also, great composure as well. So the first one was a nice little left-footed chip over the goalkeeper. The second one was, him taking the ball around the goalkeeper and finishing. And the third was a nice right-footed chip over the goalkeeper. So a nice little trifecta there. All three goals were assisted by Amin Harit as well, who had a great day scoring the fourth goal too. What a day for an American, scoring a hat trick for a team that was, at the end of its rope essentially. This was a team, Schalke, that was on a 30-game loss streak. And we're fast approaching the record for a losing streak in the Bundesliga, which I believe sat at 32. And it's just great to see him providing them with that spark to really break this curse that it seems they've been under, and also that streak just in general. I think, we saw a lot of what we've seen so far this season from Matt Hoppe in this game. And that's a lot of great work defensively. He's also making really good runs in behind the defense, and he's providing a nice outlet up front to connect play going into that final third too. I think the thing that's really been kind of something that's kind of gone under the radar with his play is the ability that he has with his head in the air. He really does a good job kind of identifying balls off goal kicks and where players are behind them and directing balls into their path. So that was something that I thought you saw in that first game he started, and maybe sporadically in the minutes he's played since. But in this game, it was pretty apparent to me, which I thought was kind of cool. And it was just obviously the goals are the big feature of the week for him, and they should be. This is the first American to score a hat trick in the Bundesliga, so what an accolade that is to have. And he also joins Christian Pulisic and Clint Dempsey as the only three players now to score hat tricks in a top 5 league. So, pretty impressive milestone for a player that was kind of, off most people's radars and was a player that never played for the U.S., even at the youth levels. So, I'm sure that'll not be the case for much longer. But to go into it a little bit, Hoppe, made the move from Barca's academy in Arizona last year to Schalke's U19s. And, with the U19s, he got some playing time, but was kind of in and out of the lineup. And then this year he got moved up to the 2 team, mostly because, he's not age eligible for the U19s anymore. And, really got some good playing time with them, was really one of the starters for them. And if he didn't start, he was coming off the bench. And in November, got called up by the former coach, Manuel Baum, at Schalke, as they were just searching for any option they could, really, to help give him a spark. And Matt's really taken that opportunity well. And he's been a player that management have consistently talked about when they talk about the youngsters and the impact they're looking to have. And he's really just come in, understood that this is his opportunity to prove himself and show to people that he is a Bundesliga player. And he's had a great mentality, and as you saw in this game, it really helped him out. So I honestly think going forward, we're going to see Matt start again next week. I think Schalke are going to stick with whatever hope they have, no pun intended. But they're really just going to stick with the hot hand, and I think Matt, you're going to see start the next few games, whether or not he scores or not. It's just that kind of season for Schalke, and hopefully he can score. Because honestly, these goals were really just opportune finishing, and nothing that is super out of this world or world class. Yes, it was great to see those chips, but he put himself in a great position to score those goals, whether they're chips or just normal shots on goal. So I really like the prospects that Matt has going forward with Schalke, and I think next week we'll be talking about him even more. So now moving on, we're going to go over to Italy and talk about Weston McKennie. So Weston played a game midweek and subbed on and played 26 minutes for Juventus as they beat AC Milan 3-1. And Weston provided that third goal for them, which really was a big win for them too, because AC Milan sit at the top of the table right now. And, this win was able to give Juventus now just a 7-point, gap between them and Milan, which, if they didn't win and the results were reversed, it would have been a 10-point gap. So it keeps them still in striking position. And again, Weston was really the key difference maker on the day for Juventus coming on. He really just was the spark that they needed. And so he did that midweek. This weekend, unfortunately, his performance was a little bit shorter and really was, I guess, concerning on some aspects. And we'll get into that here in a little bit. But he came off in the 18th minute for what we believe is either an injury or a coach's decision. Apparently, Coach Pirlo said that he had a minor knock in training the day before this game and was asked to be subbed off. But when you watch the game, it almost looked like it was more a tactical change and potentially something that Weston wasn't doing that Pirlo asked of him. So we don't want to create any unnecessary drama, and we'll definitely follow up when we get an answer on social media, so check us out there. But it was just kind of disappointing to see him come off after 18 minutes in this game against Sassuolo. Now, Juventus was able to go on and win the game 3-1, and again, helped them stay within 7 points of AC Milan with a game in hand. But really just wish we saw more of Weston McKennie. So now moving over to Germany, we want to talk about a game that took place between two USMNT stars, and that is the game between Borussia Dortmund and RB Leipzig. So Gio Reyna and Tyler Adams both started this game, played 90 minutes, and Dortmund were able to come out 3-1 on the day. So good to see them gain some points back on Bayern, who actually lost this weekend. And unfortunately for both players, it was really kind of a unimpressive game from both of them, in my opinion. That might be a little harsh, but Tyler Adams started at right back again, was switched into a CDM role kind of halfway through the game, around the 62nd minute, I believe, when they made a change. And honestly, it just was, a really tightly contested game, a little bit scrappy, a little bit sloppy. And we actually saw Gio and Tyler go at each other at several points, especially in the second half, where some words were exchanged too, which provided for some interesting footage and surely some good conversation when they meet up again at the next USMNT camp. But like I said, not much from both of them in this game. Gio, tried to be the facilitator at times for Dortmund and play some balls into the box to Erling Haaland and Marco Reus and Jadon Sancho, but those three really were the stars on the day. So he didn't really need to step up. But I think there was really nothing more from this game. So I think we're going to move on now to two transfers, one that's been truly completed and one that's kind of a rumor at the moment. So the first one is Mark McKenzie going to Genk, which is a team in Belgium. And this transfer is happening now for $6 million, which in my opinion is a really big move for MLS. You're talking about $6 million for a center back coming from MLS. I believe this is I didn't look, but I want to say it's like the third or fourth highest American transfer in MLS history. Because I know you had Josie Altidore right around $8 million. Matt Miazga's right around there. I want to say this is like the third highest American transfer in MLS history, especially with Brendan Aronson, the other one right up there too. So really, really good move in my opinion for him and also for MLS just to kind of commit to this ideology of being a selling league. And obviously the Philadelphia Union are the player that really in this transfer that really are the ones taking the hit and also the rewards too. Selling Brendan Aronson and Mark McKenzie for the amounts that they both sold him for will obviously help their team out as well as the league. So good for them. I think Genk is a perfect team for Mark McKenzie to go to on paper. This is a team that's produced players like Kevin De Bruyne, Kalidou Koulibaly, Wilfred Ndidi, Sander Berge, a whole host of others. And they also sit second in the Belgian Premier League right now, or the Belgian Pro League. So, I think this is the right time for him too. They just won the Supporters' Shield at the Union, him and Brendan Aronson. So, I think there's a lot of things to like. Now, the one thing that's kind of uncertain at the moment, I think when you look at this move, is when and where he'll slot in for Genk in that back line. So right now they play mostly a three at the back with John Lucumi, Carlos Cuesta, and another defender, Munoz, all three of them from Colombia. And, Munoz is really kind of that utility man. He can also play center defensive mid, left back at times for him, right back, and also, center back. And he's got 4 assists on the season. So I don't really see McKenzie replacing him. The player I do think he'll replace is Carlos Cuesta, just because Cuesta is a little younger than Lucumi, who honestly could get sold for a big money move himself. So maybe he'll replace him when that happens. But I think from day one, McKenzie will really be in a battle to replace Cuesta. And in my opinion, I think he can do it. Cuesta's, I believe, a little bit younger than him. Someone who's definitely not been as consistent of a player as McKenzie's been. And obviously the change to Belgium is going to be something that's going to, he needs time to adapt to those new settings, new environment. But I believe he can do it pretty quickly. And I think that's what's, going to happen. So definitely keep your eye on that. We'll try to keep you updated. I know Genk played this weekend, but Mark has not really been integrated into the squad yet. He's still completing his physicals, things like that. So I think it'll be a few weeks before he gets into that first team or, the first 18 there at Genk. So, that's not a bad thing. I think he needs time to settle down to a new life too. And then, hit the ground running when that time comes. So now we want to go over to our final item we're going to talk about today, and that's a supposed transfer that really just came out of the blue that we thought would be worth addressing in this episode. So that's the transfer of Julian Araujo to Tottenham. So it was reported this weekend from an independent outlet on Twitter who's got some some credibility, and that's him, Julian Araujo, moving to Tottenham for $5 million. So Julian's a player that's had a lot of interest in him. He's a really good, right back, right wing back, someone who's got speed and also just a good mentality, someone who, is not afraid to take on many challenges. I remember hearing him, talk about Carlos Vela and the challenge that he possessed, and, he was eager to play against Carlos. So I think that's really one of the strengths of Julian's game. So it makes sense why a big team like Tottenham would be interested in a player like this. But the real unknown part of this is, whether or not he'd qualify for an English work permit. We've seen a lot of players in the past struggle with that, Sebastian Soto being one, even, going back as far as like Breck Shea and, who's the other one? I can't think of the name now. Oh man, I really am struggling with the name, but, the one player who, Juan Agudelo, there we go. I couldn't think of the name, but we've seen in the past now that players when they move to England, they struggle to get these work permits just due to the strictness of their laws there. So I think you'd see this move happen maybe, but you'd have to see a loan. So a loan to maybe their Eredivisie, a loan to maybe Belgium, similar to where Mark McKenzie's playing right now, or even similar to Reggie Cannon's situation to Portugal. I think those would be moves that I think you'd see a transfer of Julian Araujo to one of those teams in a league like that, but also, a loan to one of those teams if he does go to a team like Tottenham. So we'll keep you updated on this transfer. Like I said, it's something that came kind of out of nowhere, but if it's true, because it sounded, this reporter made it sound like it's being finalized, which was really news to us. That would definitely be a big time move for Julian, and hopefully help further his career abroad. So with that being said, now let's head over to Quick Kicks. And now, unfortunately, without Pat, it's time for his favorite part of the episode, as well as mine, and that is Quick Kicks.
So you could test Dwayne Miller. It's Altidore over the wall, and that one is in! Josie Altidore from a long way out! The opening goal for the United States!
So to start Quick Kicks today, we have Christian Pulisic, who subbed on for Chelsea and played the final 22 minutes in their 4-0 win over Morecambe in the FA Cup. To go over to Spain, we have Serginho Dest, who started and played 81 minutes in Barca's 4-0 win over Granada. Going over to Germany, we have Josh Sargent, who started and played 81 minutes in Bremen's 1-1 draw with Leverkusen. Big result for them, so that was really nice to see. Now going back to Spain, we have Yunus Musa, who subbed on and played the final minute for Valencia in their 1-0 win over Valladolid. If you didn't see, Yunus did a really good impersonation of Gareth Bale, tracking down the right wing, pushing a ball past several defenders and getting pushed out of bounds, to eventually win it back and give his team a chance to score. It was a really cool, parallel to that time when Gareth Bale did it in the Copa del Rey. So, go check that out if you didn't see it. And going back to Germany, we have Chris Richards, who started and played 90 minutes in Bayern 2's 2-0 loss to 1860 Munich. So, wish we could see Chris more with Bayern. We did a poll this week about whether or not he should go on loan, and it was a pretty resounding yes. So it will be interesting to see what this winter transfer window holds for him. And going to England, we have Anthony Robinson, who subbed on and played the final 30 minutes for Fulham in their 2-0 win over QPR in the FA Cup. And staying in England, we have Cameron Carter-Vickers, who finally is healthy again and was able to get the start for Bournemouth, that being in their 4-0 FA Cup win, 4-1 FA Cup win over Oldham Athletic. And going back to Germany, we have Julian Green, who started, played, I believe, all 90 minutes. He did play all 90 minutes and had an assist for Greuther Fürth in their unfortunate 3-2 loss to Karlsruhe. So this game was kind of important for them and would have helped them, I believe, get up to first place or at least, bring them close to first place, I believe within a point. And unfortunately, they lost the game and now sit in fourth. So it's a real tight race in the 2 Bundesliga. And Julian's honestly been Greuther Fürth's best player all season. So it will be exciting to see if he can help them get promoted, or if not, if that season helps him get a move up to the Bundesliga. And going back to England, we have Matt Olasunda, who started and played 90 minutes and also scored a key goal for Rotherham United in their 2-1 loss to Everton. And Rotherham really gave Everton a run for their money, took them the extra time, and again, that goal by Olasunda, which was his first professional goal, really helped them stay in this game, and unfortunately they couldn't get it done. And going to Spain, we have 2 players who play for the same team. That's Shaq Moore and Sam Shashua. So both players started and played, Sam played 63 minutes and Shaq played 77, and Sam was able to score a goal for Tenerife in their 3-0 win this weekend. So good to see 2 Americans playing for the same team over in Spain. And that's all for episode today, guys. Make sure you like this video down below, and subscribe to our channel. And also check us out on Twitter and Instagram. We try to post more frequently on those two channels, so make sure to give them a follow, and then also check us out in podcast form. Check our episode out in podcast form on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. So with all this excitement going on, we love to keep covering it, and like we said last episode, we're trying to do a few more videos per month and get your feedback in what videos we should make. So make sure to leave a comment on a topic that you want to hear us talk about. So that being said, I think there's only one thing left to be said, and that is, one day we will win the World Cup.